Hi, this is WWIII. I am going to be doing this until I die or I find something better to do. So please help me achieve this personal and, I think, noble objective by contributing to my Patreon or Subscribestar. Link is down below. Every little bit helps. Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Red Pill Nation Hangout. It's just the two of us today, myself and Rearson. I am your host and actually somewhat tired, but still crazy, WWIII. With me tonight is a guy who somehow can't find the people who actually own BlackRock Coffee, and we ran out of time to find out here. Rearson, introduce yourself.
Yeah. I'm incompetent with finding out and looking up the information. Beats the living shit out of me. I'm not really too sure right now. I don't know what else to really say at this point, so let's just... My mind's occupied in other things, so let's just get this show on the road.
Okay, for those of you who don't know, Patreon as the Red Pill Nation. Still working out the situation with Subscribestar. Still haven't worked it out. I'm going to have to actually spend some time over the next couple of days and figure out what the fuck is going on. MGTOW TV, Brighteon, BitChute, Odyssey, Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, Minds, MeWe, Gab, Getter, and TLB Talks are the sites where I'm currently located. We'll eventually get around to starting to post up my stuff up at Spotify and so on and so forth, but I haven't gotten quite around to that yet. I will eventually. Not really in the mood to be telling jokes tonight. I'm actually a little low on my gas tank is actually running a little low right now. So without any further ado, I'm just going to go straight into what the topics are tonight. Topic number 1, OMG Exposes Democrats. They know they're in trouble. 2, the overhype around Taylor Swift, the Psyop narrative, and the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, when I get to that one, I'll explain something that happened today. Topic number 3, Leftists Sperging out over Danielle Smiths' new Child LGTBQ legislation. 4, Ben Shapiro, Tom MacDonald do a rap video together. 5, shocking study finds Gen Z boys are rejecting feminism. And topic number 6, how close are we to World War III? And if time permits, we will cover the farmer protests in Europe, but we will leave that absolutely to the literally the last minute. Depending, we'll just see what kind of time frame we're on when we get to it. But without any further ado, let's get into the first one.
And you're not a Trump fan, are you?
No. Donald needs to die. Donald needs to die.
Huh?
I said, well, then Donald needs to go. The majority of the work that I do is policy because that's what my degree is in.
Policy?
It's focused in policy. And so I do a lot of, that's why I go to a lot of embassies and a lot of events at the White House.
That sounds, you were in the White House?
I go to the White House.
So do you have to keep your mouth kind of shut because you're working for a Republican, you can't say?
Well, I really keep it to myself.
So you're like besties with Nancy Pelosi?
I love Nancy. My picture of Nancy Pelosi and I is on my desk.
I don't know if your constituents would want to know that though, huh? Would they be pissed off? They don't care.
If they do, they kiss the crack of my ass. There's a lot of things that I do here, and there's a lot of things that I see with my own eyes. I just hard throwing one line neither. That man in a wheelchair, that video that came out with the guy extended off the building in the hearing room.
Oh yes, I saw that.
Okay.
Yeah.
The guy was blackmailed.
He was blackmailed?
Pretty much.
Whoa.
So most members, they actually have spouses that are married. They have affairs with other council people, with Congress people, Congress members in office. And they have like parties and stuff.
Like you're talking about sex parties?
Yeah, they
Whoa.
want to talk a lot.
So these parties are like, it gets hot and heavy.
Yeah. It's like an in-house thing. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. But 9 out of 10 times, everybody in there knows. But they actually, that is a fact. They actually do have these parties.
Does that happen a lot? Like people do something sexual and they blackmail? Have you seen that?
So, it happens every now and then.
But they get blackmailed.
Exactly. That's
Holy
because it's like they have a leverage of, like, if you have something like that, it's called leverage. And so what they do, they use against you to get something else. Majority of the members that come late are always 9 out of 10 times come over from the night before.
From the sex party.
So, on the voting, you already have a piece of paper that tells you how to vote. Known as a suggestion. It's not a suggestion.
It's not a suggestion.
It's what we need you to vote.
Because we know we have information about you.
Right. They have a group chat that they tell people how to vote.
They tell people how to vote.
Yeah.
And they get information about them and use it as blackmail.
In a way, yes.
Well, I mean, I've never been to a party like this. I've been invited to them. My instant reaction to that is, especially the blackmail piece that it seemed like this individual was talking about in this piece. That's something that I experienced firsthand.
But doesn't it make you feel like guilty sometimes?
I get my check and I'm good.
You get that money.
Yeah.
Well, that's what it's all
I like
about.
to buy nice things.
You like to buy nice things? So you get that money, you like to buy, what type of nice things do you like to buy?
I love a Louis. So the one thing I want is a jumper. I want the jumper. I like a lot of things. That's it.
That's what you look on your arm, What's your favorite bag of all bags?
Like a
Congressional records show that Titus Warren worked for Congressman Westerman's office in 2023 with the Committee of Natural Resources. He told me he was just offered a program with CHIPS, a program offered through an executive order at the White House.
What did you say that CHIPS was again? What does that mean?
So CHIPS is inside the Commerce Building. So CHIPS is a program offered through the White House Executive Office. It's an internship program. It's where you, it's pretty much the CHIPS Act. This is what it came from. It was to provide broadband and resources for rural communities.
Although Titus is just an entry and very low-level person on Capitol Hill, he's been to the White House, spent time with the leaders of both political parties, witnessed and heard a lot of congressional staff doing and saying things. What he has heard and seen, we believe people need to hear. We also believe it will encourage other interns, bartenders, contractors, and members of political parties, anybody who is on the inside, come forward with more information.
The majority of the work that I do is policy because that's what my degree is in.
Policy?
So it's focused in policy. And so I do that's why I go to a lot of embassies and a lot of events at the White House.
You were at the White House?
I go to the White
Do
House.
you meet the president?
Have I met him? No. I have met thank you, sir. I have met pretty top officials,
So you work with the Republican, I forgot his name, Westmoreland?
Yeah.
And he's like a Republican?
Mm-hmm.
But you're not.
No. So I'm just in LA.
What's that?
Legal aid.
But in your job, you've heard things. You've seen people say things to you.
There's a lot of things that I do here, and there's a lot of things that I see with my own eyes.
Even though Titus works for a Republican, he says he is a secret Democrat and has to keep it on the down low. He says he loves Pelosi, does not like Trump, and talks about what he thinks about his constituents.
But I work in a Republican office, so I can speak on the Republican.
You what?
I work in a Republican office.
You do?
I do. I'm not Republican, by the way, but I do work in a Republican office. I told you I met Nancy Pelosi. I love
You met? Yes, that's right. You did say that. And you're not a Trump fan, are you?
No.
So do you have to keep your mouth kind of shut because you're working for a Republican? You can't say?
Well, I don't. Yeah, I really keep it to myself.
Does your boss know how you feel?
Yeah, I'm sure he does. Because my photo of Nancy Pelosi is on my desk. So I'm
Huh?
Well, I'm sure he does because my picture of Nancy Pelosi and I is on my desk. Here's me and Nancy Pelosi.
Oh, wow. What a beautiful color.
Every time I see her or we run into each other, sometimes I'll go in her office and I'll just go in her candy bowl in her office.
So she knows you pretty well.
Yes.
She likes you.
Love Nancy. Love Nancy.
So you're like besties with Nancy Pelosi?
Love Nancy.
And you're working for a Republican. I don't know if your constituents would want to know that, though, huh?
What?
But they'd be pissed off. They don't care.
If they do, they kiss the crack of my ass.
They could kiss your ass.
Because I don't care. Because
you don't care?
My opinion. When I actually went to go, home and whatnot, and I posted the photo of Nancy and I, my dear friend, they own a trucking company back home. She said, "Oh, so you was friends with Nancy?" I said, "And I was, and I love Nancy too."
And what did he say?
And she said, "Nancy's gotta go." That's what.
And what'd you say?
And I said, "Well, then Donald needs to die."
Huh?
I said, "Well, then Donald needs to go."
What did your boss think?
Well, he's for Trump, obviously. But
that must be frustrating.
So,
I love how you said to your constituents, you're like, you can kiss my ass.
You can. They can kiss the crack of my ass.
They can kiss your ass.
A Senate staffer was busted in December in a viral video having hardcore gay sex in a Senate hearing room. The staffer was 24-year-old Aidan Maiz Sarofsky and was promptly fired by Maryland Senator Ben Cardin. According to Titus, this is the norm, and there was blackmail involved.
Well, it was right before they all went on Christmas break. The video that came out with the guy in the Senate office building in the hearing room.
I forgot which one.
Came out in the Senate hearing room.
Okay. Oh yes, I saw that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That actually did not happen the day it came out. That happened way back when. That happened in the summer.
Really?
What happened was, I don't know if you ever watched Red, White, and Royal Blue. Oh, you have to. This journalist got mad at the guy because they wasn't talking anymore. And so he linked it to another journalist so they can publish it. And then the guy was blackmailed technically by it because he didn't know they were publishing it.
He was blackmailed?
Pretty much.
Whoa.
That's why in his post he said, "I'm taking all the legal options that I can." Because he actually has a ton. But to figure out who actually did it, it's going to be kind of challenging for him on his path. But hey, yeah.
Does that happen a lot? Like people do something sexual and they blackmail? Have you seen that?
So it happens every now and then.
Sex parties and blackmail were first spoken about by former United States Representative Madison Cawthorn back in March 2022. The congressional staffer we spoke to states these are very real, and he said it happens more than people think.
Before George Santos left, okay, I've got to give, he did not lie about this at all. Okay, so most members, they actually have spouses that are married or dead. They have affairs with other council people, Congress people, Congress members in office. And they have like parties and stuff. Do I go? I don't know. Never go. I never get invited to them because I don't care to go. But they actually, that is a fact. They actually do have these parties.
Really?
And it is only certain members. Not all members are into it, but certain members are. And it's always the ones that are like,
yeah.
Clowns. I call them clowns.
The clams?
The clowns.
They talk.
Talk all the time.
Like you talk about sex parties.
Yeah, they want to talk a lot.
So these parties are like, it gets hot and heavy.
Yeah.
Whoa.
On a call, Titus dove into more detail on the sex parties. He told us if he were to name the person, it would put them in grave jeopardy, and he would take that information to the grave.
I'm sorry. I'll tell you what I heard, but I won't tell you who I heard it from because I'm not putting the person in jeopardy. But what I did hear is a lot of people, get brought, like couples to come in, and the couples will start making out with other couples, and men and women and women, and it's a whole big ordeal. alcohol is a part of this, but furthermore, if it's cocaine related, no. I've not heard of a drug substance besides alcohol that is at this party. Now, that's why I assume that. I've not heard of cocaine. And personally, I'm personally not going to tell you that there is cocaine because the boss will lose their job. They do tell you what you do here. That it's couples and couples, women and women, and men and men. But who told me that? I will not say. Will not say. That will go to the grave with me. I am new. Absolutely not. Done. No.
Go to the grave.
Yeah, I'm going to die with that secret.
But me, I don't ever go.
You invited?
Have I been invited? No.
Do you want to go?
I don't want to go.
It sounds a little.
Oh. But it happens a lot more than more people think.
But no one ever.
Madison Carter in one line neither. That man in a wheelchair, they goodbye.
Which guy is that?
He was the congressman that was in the wheelchair.
I think I remember, yeah.
And he's the one that first mentioned it back in like 2021 before he got out of his seat. He wasn't lying. It actually, I thought it was a joke at home. I wasn't even working here.
Now, nobody reports on that, or media doesn't talk about that. They called him a liar.
Because the reason why, a lot of media and a lot of people in general don't know about it.
Really?
No. It's like an in-house thing. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. But 9 out of 10 times, everybody in there knows.
And what do they do at these parties?
That I don't know. But I know it ain't like birthday cake and cookies.
We reached out to Madison Cawthorn and got his reaction.
Well, I mean, I've never been to a party like this. I've been invited to them. My instant reaction to that is, especially the blackmail piece that it seemed like this individual was talking about in this piece. That's something that I experienced firsthand. As soon as it's kind of a latent threat, it's kind of just an understood thing in Washington. It's not something that's ever really said to you, but it's well known that people can always have leverage points on you.
I would assume that the New York Times and CNN know about it, but they don't publish it.
Well, as they know, they would run the story. Or they're not allowed to run the story.
Titus says these parties also serve a deeper purpose as a way for the ultra-powerful, the parties, and lawmakers to have leverage on members of Congress and other branches of government.
But they get blackmailed.
Exactly. That's
holy shit.
Because it's like they have a leverage of, like, if you have something like that, it's called leverage. And so what they do, they use against you to get something else.
Holy, whoa.
Oh yeah, it's like, that's just behind the scenes. So,
but you don't get invited.
No, I'm glad I don't.
Yeah.
I'm glad I don't.
Titus tells us that votes are not suggestions, that members are pressured through the use of leverage gained by the sex parties in how they should vote.
A lot of the time, people show up late or don't show up at all to vote. Majority of the members that come late are always, 9 out of 10 times, come over from the night before.
From the sex party. It's like they get them on something and then they make them vote a certain way?
So, on the voting, okay, so they already, so when you go in, depending on what party, you already have a piece of paper that tells you how to vote. Known as a suggestion.
Right.
It's not a suggestion, technically. It's how you're supposed to vote. So they're not actually thinking.
It's not a suggestion.
It's what we need you to vote.
Because we know we have information about you.
Right.
Really?
So it's never like.
But who comes up with these suggestions?
The parties. Whatever committee they're on. So, for example, if they're on let's say small business committee.
Yeah.
There's a Republican side and Democrat side. They both have their different papers.
So these suggestive votes are not suggestions at all.
No. And they get papers, and they have a group chat that they tell people how to vote.
They tell people how to vote.
Yeah.
And they get information about them and use it as blackmail.
In a way, yes. If you ever run for office and you have been in where I am, you would use that as leverage to win your campaign.
Who's behind this? Like just the party leader?
In general.
Cawthorn also confirmed this leverage done on members of Congress while voting.
People always want to put you in compromising situations so that they can have leverage over you so they can control your vote.
Asked if Titus feels guilty about all of this, Titus says it's all about the money and getting his Louis Vuitton handbags.
But you're not really a Republican.
No.
But you work for one.
Work for one, love it.
Yeah, you're doing it. You're like a rebel on the inside.
I get my check and I'm good.
You get that money.
Yeah.
Well, that's what it's all about.
I like to buy nice things.
You like to buy nice things? So you get that money, you like to buy, what type of nice things do you like to buy?
So, this one thing that I sell, all my money that I'm saving now is for me to go to the Hamptons of the week, every weekend of the summer. So I like to go to Louis.
Chanel?
I love those. But I love a Louis. So the one thing I want is a duffel. I want the duffel.
But doesn't it make you feel like guilty sometimes to work for the Republican? Or is that no big deal? Like you're helping the Republican Party?
I don't.
But do you feel guilty like you're helping the Republicans? You're like, dude, I just want that money so I can get the Louis Vuitton.
I don't.
You don't feel guilty?
No.
I went shopping with Titus at Burberry and David Yurman in Washington, D.C.'s Center Square. We looked at certain rings.
My new friend is looking for a little ring, and we're wondering the prices on these right here.
Yeah.
He loves blue. Is his birthstone?
The blue.
And he's a hard-working member of Congress.
Okay.
So he deserves a little gift today.
I like a lot of things. That's
You like a lot of
I'm trying to.
Well, what about like this one? This one would look good on your arm, you know? Or what do you think?
Titus told us again that the D.C. blackmail sex parties are not a conspiracy.
Oh, I was doing some reading about that online. As everyone says, that that's just like a conspiracy theory, you know, but it's real. It happens. Wow.
It's not a conspiracy.
It's not a conspiracy.
Most definitely happens.
That's crazy.
Most definitely. And it's normal to some people, but not I.
Not you.
Not I. It's not
They just get that information and they use it against people.
Yeah. So, in the morning, every morning, 2 a.m., CIA does a brief.
The CIA?
Does a brief.
Oh.
And that brief entitles whatever the president's going to get briefed on that day. So that's where the policy comes in.
You involved in the CIA brief?
No. We just get the brief.
Oh.
We just get the briefs that they give.
Is that like classified?
Yeah, but we get a lot of it like marked
redacted?
Out. A lot of it marked out.
What was shocking to us is that Titus did not recognize me. I even asked him in my encounter if he's ever heard of someone named James O'Keefe.
By the way, you ever heard of that? You ever heard of that guy? I'm not related to him, but you ever heard of this guy, Jim O'Keefe or James O'Keefe? You ever heard of that?
Yeah, the blogger. Blogger.
Some blogger. I don't know what he does exactly, but everyone that woman just said I look like him. I don't. People say that I look like him, but I don't know. But I'll see you on Wednesday, okay?
Yes.
All right.
This is just part one of our series. If you're an insider in Washington, D.C., please reach out to us on our Signal or join us on our weekly Spaces show, On the Inside with James O'Keefe, between 4 and 6 o'clock Eastern. If you want to sign up to be an undercover journalist, join the American Swiper program here. And stay tuned.
I work for the White House.
So you're pretty high up in the government.
Yeah, I'm fairly high up. I'm good at keeping secrets, and so I manage 2 federal agencies, the State Department and USAID.
So when you say it's like security, like you're protecting
the networks of the federal agencies
that
you give all your information to.
The mission is to protect information.
And we are like the president's voice when we go into meetings in terms of discussing and promoting the president's priorities.
Is he going to be the nominee?
Yes. And she will be the vice president nominee.
Yeah, I don't.
There was a debate about removing her from the ticket, but sadly they did. She can't keep black staff. They quit on her in mass.
But with him, I
know.
He's got dementia.
Yeah, well, he's definitely slowing down.
But they know that he has those issues.
I think so.
But they're not willing to say it.
Shows it. And,
they're not willing to say it
correct.
publicly.
And same thing
but
with
why
Kamala
not?
Harris. She's not popular, but you can't remove the first black lady to be vice president from the goddamn presidential ticket. Like, what kind of message are you going to send to, like, all the African-American voters? How would you spin that? People would be like, what the fuck? Like she's a woman and she's multiracial. I think that they're really concerned about this.
But they won't say it. Well, I guess if they say it publicly,
correct.
that Biden they can't say it publicly.
No, they got to toe the line.
Do they say it privately? But they won't say it publicly.
Correct.
That Biden
they
can't say it publicly.
No, they got to toe the line.
Do they say it privately?
I'm just telling you what I've heard. Like,
You're just telling me the truth.
Does it make sense? No, but that's what I've heard. I've had a meeting with Michelle Obama at one point when I was an intern, and someone asked her, will you ever run for office? And she said no, emphatically.
Really?
I've seen all the shit my husband has had to go through, and that does not interest me. People would be like, well, I don't think we should have to get the vaccine. And I'm like, it's like, you're not going to get the vaccine, and then you're going to go expose my family in the hospital to your vaccinated COVID. Like, here.
So you work in cybersecurity for the White House, and my question is, what are you doing on a meeting with James O'Keefe? What type of cybersecurity operation are you guys running over there?
We're running a good cybersecurity operation.
Well, obviously not. If they say it publicly,
correct.
That Biden What is this clown show you guys running over at the White House?
Videos like these will be brought to you in part by support with funding from the Citizen Journalism Foundation. Now you can make a tax-deductible donation to support Citizen Journalism Foundation's independent journalism. Please go to citizenjournalismfoundation.com to learn more. Charlie Krager is a cybersecurity policy analyst and foreign affairs desk officer in the executive office of the White House. He manages 2 federal agencies and for the last 4 years worked at the State Department. He works on the president's priorities, executive orders, is a high-up official, and cybersecurity subject matter expert. I met with him undercover on Sunday, January the 21st with my hair dyed, wearing fake eyeglasses. Not only did he not recognize me, he sang like a bird. His social media, which was scrubbed after my initial meeting with him, says he likes long walks on the beach and diplomatic negotiations.
Are you familiar with the Kennedy School at all?
Harvard? What about it?
Yes, I'm in the executive education program there at the Kennedy School.
Really?
Yeah, so I got a job at State Department.
The State Department?
I essentially started at Georgetown, and I applied at State. I went to Georgetown for my master's, where I studied when I joined the security studies program in the School of Foreign Service. So when I was there, I focused on like cybersecurity and technically cyber intelligence. So like the espionage and the spy game that cyber intelligence agencies.
You really are James Bond, aren't you?
I know. My grandmother likes to be like, he's a spy. And my parents are like, you can't say that. Don't tell people. Don't say that.
Don't say that you're a spy.
That makes you like a target. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah. I mean.
But no, I'm not a spy. I work at the White House. So I do oversight and management, and so my job is to help oversee like responses to cyber incidents and cybersecurity problems, and so I manage 2 federal agencies, the State Department and USAID. So I have recurring meetings with them where we talk about goals and we talk about the president's priorities and like how are they coming on certain executive order deliverables and like all of this kind of stuff.
Charlie says he's responsible for protecting the networks of the federal agencies.
So when you say it's like security, like you're protecting
the networks of the federal agencies that you give all your information to.
That through commerce or
everyone, yeah.
So you're protecting the networks.
Yes, and I'm not like sitting there coding.
Yeah.
I'm meeting with like the senior level decision makers, and we're talking about problems.
You're doing it at senior level.
Yeah.
So the mission is to protect information. That's very impressive. Wow. That's cool. That's really cool, Mr. James Bond. Charlie Krager, who works in the executive office of the White House, says he's the president's voice, and his mission is to protect networks, promote the president's priorities, work with the Security Council and other parts of the White House.
We are like the president's voice when we go into meetings in terms of discussing and promoting the president's priorities. And
So you're like the enforcer.
Kind of, yeah. And the State Department people are more difficult, high maintenance. And
Why is that?
They call me demanding.
Why are they more high maintenance than the State Department?
Because the State Department has a big ego. So tell me about you. So you went to Rutgers.
Yeah, I went to Rutgers.
And what did you major in?
Well, I majored in journalism, and I designed brochures and pamphlets. I was very, very good at it. I'm probably one of the best there is. And I'm also very good at sales.
Why do you think you're one of the best there is?
20 years of experience.
Oh, okay.
But what I do is not as interesting as what you do.
That's okay.
What you do is a movie, I guess, or something. Charlie Krager, who works in the executive office of the White House, makes his politics crystal clear.
And I had several dates where people would be like, well, I don't think we should have to get the vaccine. And I'm like, fuck you. It's you're not going to get the vaccine, and then you're going to go expose my family in the hospital to your vaccinated COVID. Fuck you.
Charlie Krager, who works in the executive office of the White House, got to talking about President Joe Biden. I told him I love everything that Joe Biden does, but asked Charlie about Biden's mental fitness. I love everything that Biden is doing. I love his policies. Just witnessing it, just looks, it's a bad look. I mean, he can't, struggles to talk.
Yes, he's no Barack Obama.
Is he going to be the nominee?
Yes. And she will be the vice president nominee.
Yeah, I don't...
There was a debate about removing her from the ticket, but sadly they didn't.
I agree with everything Biden is doing. It's just his cognitive ability. I have a grandfather who's 91.
Okay.
And Joe Biden is worse than my grandfather who has dementia.
Yeah.
He's sort of walking like this, and he's sort of and I think that voters are going to look at that, and it's going to hurt us. I think that independents are going to look at that, and they're going to be like, I can't deal with that. But with him, I know. He's got dementia.
Well, I don't think he has that clinically yet.
No, yeah.
But he's definitely slowing down.
My question is, are the people, like your colleagues or the White House or whatever, do they get it? Do they know that?
I think that they probably do, but no one in modern history has ever said, we're not going to renominate the president for a second term. Mm-hmm. That just hasn't happened.
So they know that he has those issues.
I think so.
But they're not willing to say it.
Shows it. And
they're not willing to say it
correct.
publicly.
And same thing
with
Kamala Harris. She's not popular, but you can't remove the first black lady to be vice president from the goddamn presidential ticket. What kind of message are you going to send to all the African American voters?
So that's the reason why they won't remove her.
That's what I think. How would you spin that? People would be like, what the f***? She's a woman, and she's multiracial, and she's
But she's not popular. Charlie says he's seen, in the executive office of the White House, people talking about how Kamala Harris hemorrhages black staff.
Kamala is so unpopular. The New York Times did an article about how she hemorrhages black staff. She can't keep black staff. They quit on her in mass.
She hemorrhages black staff?
Yeah, there's a New York Times article about it. It went, people sent her around at the office, and everyone was like, oh,
why don't they like her? Then the subject came up about replacing Kamala Harris and Joe Biden.
I think they need to get rid of him or get rid of her.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're going to do that.
Then Charlie Krager, who works in the executive office of the White House, says he's heard his colleagues say they can't tell the truth to the American people about what's really going on. But they do say it behind closed doors at the White House.
I think that they're really concerned about this.
But they won't say it. Well, I guess if they say it publicly,
correct.
That Biden is
no.
They can't say it publicly.
No, they got to toe the line.
Do they say it privately? So they know it.
They know it. Of course they do. But it's the optics and the scandal. I think they feel wouldn't be worth it.
I mean,
I'm just telling you what I've heard.
You're just telling me the truth.
Does it make sense? No, but that's what I've heard.
Charlie Krager says he's just telling us what he's heard in the executive office
of the White House.
I had a meeting with Michelle Obama at one point when I was an intern, and someone asked her, will you ever run for office? And she said no, emphatically.
Really?
She said, I will never run for office. It does not interest me. I've seen how, like, she said it a lot more eloquently, of course, than I'm going to say it, but she was like, I've seen all the shit my husband has had to go through, and that does not interest me.
I asked Charlie Krager, who works in the executive office of the White House, how is it that a security official in the White House doesn't know he's on a meeting with James O'Keefe and would divulge such secret information to James O'Keefe.
So you work in cybersecurity for the White House, and my question is, what are you doing on a meeting with James O'Keefe? And how do you think it looks to the American people that working in the Office of Cybersecurity, you're sitting across the table with James O'Keefe,
Okay.
founder of Project Veritas?
Oh, I've heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah, we do undercover investigations into people. What does it look like to the American people that the cybersecurity specialist at the White House is sitting across from the founder of Project Veritas? What type of cybersecurity operation are you guys running over there?
We're running a good cybersecurity operation.
Well, obviously not, because you're meeting with me. Did you not do your research? Or what is this clown show you guys running over at the White House?
Tune in tomorrow for the full reaction of Charlie Krager when I reveal who I am. What we have learned in OMG's undercover investigations into D.C. so far is that we have more problems in this country than the White House is willing to admit. Our high-ranking source, Charlie Krager, told us exactly what he has seen and heard that only a rare few have access to. With a vice president who causes hemorrhages within black staff, a president who has not yet been assessed for dementia, but people continue to talk about his ability to lead behind closed doors, and apparently Michelle Obama, who is not coming to the rescue, according to Charlie Krager. We are going to be keeping a watchful eye during the election season and would like for you to step forward and volunteer, and get active, and get involved at OMG.
Now, this one was really curious. Because you've been listening to the Democrats go into deny. Oh no, Biden's fine, even though they quite clearly can see that he's not mentally okay. James O'Keefe put on a pair, like literally that's all he did is he put on a pair of glasses and he dated this guy from the DNC.
He went to Clark Kent?
He Clark Kented himself, yeah.
Wow, you know, I never thought that I would actually hear about that actually happening in real life.
He Clark Kented himself, and he recorded. It was a gay date to boot. I'm beginning to think because he seems to have this habit of being able to know, like, get lists of employees and know which ones are like looking on Tinder and that sort of thing. Went on a gay date with this guy, and like this guy from the DNC, and this is a brutal habit that all men really, I understand why they do it. I always found it to be, well, let's just say that, I mean, if I lied to a chick just to impress her, right, at some point that lie is going to come out, so I just don't fucking do it, right? Yes, it means I get laid less, but somehow I can actually fucking live with myself. But a lot of guys, and we saw this with Charlie Chester and a couple of other individuals that have gone on these dates with people from back when Project Veritas was going on, now O'Keefe Media Group, where these guys go out on these dates and they like start talking their asses off to impress these chicks, or in this case, a gay guy trying to impress James O'Keefe and not actually fucking recognizing him, which is just absolutely mind-blowing.
Like I said, he turned into Clark Kent.
He literally turned into Clark.
Clark Cock. Anyway. Anyway.
Clark O'Keefe. Yeah. So this poor guy, whose name I can't remember, spilled the beans. The Democrats know that Joe Biden is mentally incompetent. They are exceedingly worried because Kamala Harris is not an acceptable candidate. Gavin Newsom, in their mind, is not ready for prime time. And hey, I don't think it.
That like pedophile? I'll leave that one.
Yeah. So there's like literally the Democrats are actually kind of like almost in panic mode. And the one guy who they might have been able to get on side with them to run against Trump, who might have actually stood a chance, they alienated from the party, and now he's running against Biden, which is literally, which is virtually going to guarantee that Trump wins this year. That would be Robert Kennedy Jr., by the way. So they know they're between a rock and a hard place. They're putting up a brave public face, trying to cover for Joe Biden. But again, we're talking about a guy who shit himself in front of the fucking Pope. A guy who at one of the G7 conferences was so mentally incontinent that he couldn't even think of a place to put his fucking jacket. You know, an individual who at one point at another G7, like I think it was G7 or G11, Justin Trudeau looked at him and says like, this guy's not gonna last a second. Could be lucky to last through the first term, much less the second. Like he's just not there, right? And that was coming allegedly from Trudeau, of all people.
You know, you're not in the mood to laugh, but you're making me giggle tonight, so this is a good start. All right, sorry, please continue.
So they know they're in trouble, and they're like, I mean, and of course, all of the lawsuits that they threw at Trump, none of them are working, which is totally to be expected. And I really don't want to be any of these judges. Like, I mean, they've gone so far allegedly as to attempt to, and this was over the New Hampshire primary, they've attempted to bribe judges to fix cases to make it harder for him to run. You know, they've thrown up Nikki Haley, who's not really able to do anything because she was getting lambasted on three sides by DeSantis, Ramaswamy, and Donald Trump. And I mean, again, Ramaswamy's he kind of went light on her, but I mean, I found some stuff later that he did actually come out against her. But again, a little bit too much Soros connection with Ramaswamy for me to get behind him. That's just me. So yeah, they know they're in trouble. And I said this at the start of the year, and I'm going to stick by it. This was a soft coup. These people are not going to just walk away. And when we get to topic 6 at the end, you will see why. And you know, I don't know what else to say about this. O'Keefe knocked it out of the park again. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to you, Rearson.
I've said this before and I'll say it again. With the with Trump himself, when they were questioning him on the 25th Amendment, he basically had said that I'm fine, don't worry, you don't have to worry about me. Biden's the one who has to worry about that. And that's honestly all that I can and all that I will say on the matter. Somewhere in Telegram, I think I remember the channel. I've got the post is Joe Biden from 20 years ago, maybe even 30, when he had color in his hair but no hair. Well, he had the bald spot growing. To what he is now. Doesn't look like the same person, and the signature is totally different. So I'm of the opinion that ain't him. And then what's causing everyone to lose their shit over this whole thing? If I didn't know any better, I would say that the Democrats are well aware that Biden is not him. I mean, what was it? On a couple of occasions, on more than a couple of occasions, Trump has basically said Biden's either not there or the guy's dead. So this, my opinion is that this is all to wake regular people up, and it's only a matter of time for someone such as myself to wait for the shoe to hit floor. So I don't have any more that I'm going to say about that. And V, if you're all done, or whoever is fucking around in the background.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to get the window here. Had a blackout here for well over an hour. I swear, a little gush of wind, a wind rolls through here, and the entire little tiny town shuts down. So it's just been blackout. I'm running on reserve power because I keep power banks. So, but I can't guarantee they'll be on for very long because I don't know how much data I have left on my phone. It's just a Wi-Fi. So, what subject do you guys want?
Well, O'Keefe Media Group exposes Democrats. They know they're in trouble. Basically, James O'Keefe went on he went on this gay date with this guy for the Democrat National Committee. His disguise consisted of a pair of glasses, and he fooled this guy. And this guy from the Democrat Party, literally started trying to say stuff about the Democrat Party to impress James O'Keefe, which he over-recorded. And the Democrats basically know that Biden is incompetent, and they don't have a suitable replacement for Biden at this point. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Superman.
Okay, so is this the same guy that got the information about the gain of function research from that Pfizer executive?
No, different person.
Different person. Okay.
Okay. Well, the guy he was dating was the guy he was dating was black. This other one was it wasn't James O'Keefe doing it directly. That was the Pfizer one. This individual was a gay African American man and member of the Democrat National Committee, I think, or somebody on the Democrat National Committee. Continue.
Well, of course he is. You gotta suck a lot of white cock to get to that position.
So you're not talking from experience.
Hey, listen. If I were doing that, I'd be at least vice president right now. At least. Hey, I'll take them all directions. If I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna be the best. But no. I am where I am right now because I don't suck cock. All right. So I'm taking the long, hard road to fight to where I need to get to. But anyways, no, I mean.
Hello.
Oh, sorry. So, anyways, yeah, I know. We've all known there's no suitable replacement for Biden. There's no other Democrat that's been in the scene, been in the public, because they've been too busy behind the scenes doing the dirt. Okay, they're. I mean, what's the closest we got? That Kennedy guy?
Yeah, and he's not running. He's running against Biden because the Democrats basically ran him out of the. They basically prevented him from running on the Democrat ticket against Biden. So he decided to run as an independent Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
And he's yeah.
Okay. Well, you know more than me at this point. But yeah, no, I think it's fairly obvious. But there you got some powerhouse, rock star, quote unquote, of the Republican Party, and I do think we're gonna have a Republican in office. I don't think they're gonna stop trying to jail Trump. I think when it starts getting close, we're gonna try to kill him. You're gonna hear about some car accidents or some assassination attempt. But yeah, so yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, I hate to say this, but I mean, if they assassinate Trump, they deify him. Of course, that would be too logical for that group of people that we're dealing with. But if they try to assassinate Trump, if they succeed in assassinating Trump, they basically deify him. You know.
Yeah.
And whoever is slated to take his place is just going to get swept in overwhelmingly, right?
Right.
That's my personal opinion on the issue. But anyway, let's get on with the next story, because this next one was just like, up until yesterday, I really didn't care all that much about it. Now, Taylor Swift's newest squeeze is a Taylor Swift.
Sorry, thought I heard Swiss.
Taylor Swift's newest squeeze is Travis Kelce of the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, there's been some controversy about Kansas City winning a game or two in the playoffs this year. Whenever Taylor Swift has shown up at a Kansas City Chiefs game, the people, V, could you mute yourself, please? Whenever Taylor Swift is showing up at Kansas City to watch a game, the football announcers, the network has gone over to Taylor Swift just a little too much. And it's actually annoyed some of the football people who are watching football. It's sort of like, I go to watch football. I don't go to fucking watch Taylor Swift. And somebody else, and the Quartering actually pointed this out. Like, can you imagine what it would be like if they inserted football content every 2 or 3 minutes into one of Taylor Swift's videos? Right? Like, it would be really fucking annoying, right? This, because you have the fact that Taylor Swift is involved with one of the Kansas City Chiefs, you have some very suspicious decisions in the playoffs around the Kansas City Chiefs. You have a ready-made mix for a conspiracy to develop, and that is exactly what has occurred. Now, up until this morning, I didn't give a flying fuck about that. I put this on here because people were like, it was sort of like, oh, okay, this might make for an interesting topic, right? This might make for an interesting topic just because it's sort of like it's going around on the media quite a bit. Until this morning. This morning, I saw on Facebook, I saw a post from a guy, another Canadian, by the way, and it had to be the simpiest fucking shit that I have ever seen. Well, not ever seen, but it's been the simpiest shit I've seen on fucking Facebook for a while, right? I mean, this guy, the only thing this guy didn't do is get down on one knee and fucking beg and begged Taylor Swift if he could have a fucking reach around. Like, that's how bad it was, right? And he was actually posting it from somewhere else. And there have been some other people that have been posting up. Suddenly, there's a whole bunch of response videos to all of the stuff that Taylor Swift has been undergoing. I've also found out quite recently that V, if you don't mute yourself, I'm going to mute you for you. Okay, so there's been some really weird stuff come up around, and there's been all of a sudden there's been like, and again, this might actually be part of the Super Bowl hype, which makes it even more conspiratorial. But what you're seeing is all of these male feminists and these simps and whatever going online and suddenly white fucking just like it. I mean, really pathetically white knighting themselves. Like, I mean, this one dude that I won't mention his name, but again, like I said, he simped himself out so fucking badly. I'm surprised he didn't get down on one knee and ask fucking Taylor Swift for a fucking reach around. You know, and again, I personally don't care. I mean, I am. Strangely enough, I will watch the Super Bowl over watching the Academy Awards now, because the Academy Awards are just crap. But, you know, there's been enough odd things happen around the NFL, around the playoffs, and it doesn't just involve the Kansas City Chiefs. It involved a couple of the other teams. Like, it involved also some of the stuff that happened with some choices in one of the wins San Francisco got, and a lot of buzz about potentially rigged games in the playoffs. And the other thing, and this is kind of like a sidebar, but I have to point this out. The NHL All-Star Game was in Toronto this year. I found it very, very peculiar that, because what ended up happening is they had 4 teams. They played, basically they had these games of skinny against each other, right? It was basically all-star games except on smaller level, and then they had a playoff round, and then the winners met in the final. And I found it very peculiar that it was the team led by Austin Matthews, who plays for the Maple Leafs, that ended up winning it all in Toronto. Now, that could just be a coincidence, but I mean, at this point, like, I'm seeing this just a little too much in the area of sports to just start brushing it off now. And there always seems like the sporting narrative always seems to have a convenient fit to some political or global agenda, and the team that wins the Super Bowl always seems to be the team that has the best, most convenient, most marketable fit. Just like how, for instance, and I'm going back to hockey here, how I knew, for instance, that Chicago was going to get Connor Bedard and not Anaheim or Columbus, because Chicago's a big city market. Anaheim and Columbus are not. And, you know, and based upon all the white knighting, there's only 2 possibilities here. Either Taylor Swift has gotten so pissed off about all of the attacks coming her way, or the league itself is promoting this stuff in order to hype up the game. That really appears to be the only things, because, I mean, the level of simping in the past 48, in the past 24 hours in defense of Taylor Swift has got to be some of the most pathetic, blue-pilled, suck-up simping that I have seen in a while. And with it, I'm going to turn it over to V.
Yeah, well, I don't know if simping's going on exactly. I don't know. Taylor Swift is a celebrity, and celebrities get hyped. I mean, I'm not too opinionated on this, nor do I care a lot about it.
No, I didn't either until a few days ago. I didn't either until today.
Well, to tell you the truth, I mean, I've never heard a Taylor Swift song, nor do I even know what she looks like. So, I mean, she can't be being pushed too hard. There's many where there's commercials forced on me. I don't think she's being pushed too hard, you know. And I don't know, an event is an event. She's a mega celebrity. I don't know. She's up there. I mean, especially with you Caucasian audience out there, which is so large. She's probably as huge as Janet Jackson. I don't know. Again, that's not my type of music. She's not my type of musician or celebrity. I know nothing about her.
Maybe she'll have a wardrobe malfunction.
Well, I might tune in on that one. I might get familiar with her. Me and my Johnson & Johnson.
That's it, V. Thinking with your dick. Anyway, that's fine. We all do.
Well, hold up. Go ahead, Harrison.
Okay, I'm surprised. We talked about this before. Her music library has been bought out by George Soros.
Oh, yeah, I know that.
So, if, like, to have it in line like that, who was it? I can't remember if it was on YouTube or maybe it was the Quartering or someone else. I can't remember. Maybe I saw it. No, I think I saw it through Telegram. It was a link through Telegram for an X post, but basically the whole thing with Taylor Swift is that she's gone through an interesting transformation. It started off with Kanye humiliating her on stage. She eventually had a photo set done in a bathtub and apparently with diamonds, and that's something significant to the deep state with all of this. So, and then recently there was the deep fake of probably her sucking dick or whatever else it was. I'm not paying this woman any attention. We have no influence over her. Let's be honest. Let's not kid ourselves. And whatever she does at the end of the day is whatever she is going to do at the end of the day. I don't follow football. I have less than a fuck to give for hockey overall. So this is, again, one of those times that I have no dog in this fight, and certainly no skin in this game. So
again, I'm going to say it again. I didn't either until this stuff started, until all of this simping came out today.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this was just going to...
Yep. And that's fine. I still don't... I really honestly don't care. As for the simping, yeah. As for the simping, well, simps are going to simp, and there's nothing we can do about that. I mean, I'm sure the guy would be happy for Taylor Swift to wear a pair of stilettos and step on his ball sack. I don't know. Maybe kick him in the groin. Maybe he would love that. Or perhaps, he would happily offer his prostate to her, however she wants to violate him through that means. Don't know, don't care. I really don't care.
Hey, Swift, players gonna hate, simp's gonna simp.
Well, hey, if you want to offer your ass to Taylor Swift, go right ahead, B. I'm not going to stop you at all.
If she's got a tub full of diamonds, I might just stuff some of those up there and smuggle them out.
Oh. Folks, the chemistry between V and I is still as vibrant as always, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Oh, fuck. For me, at the end of the day, fuck, whatever. I have heard of one football player caught on video calling out a ref for the coach dirty or something to that effect, i.e. the whole sports system is rigged. It's rigged. It's as honest as Don King not interfering in a boxing match.
Oh, by the way, the guy's name is Titus King.
Who?
The guy who went on the date with James O'Keefe is Titus King. Titus Warren. Sorry, Titus Warren.
Well, maybe his ass is tight. I don't know. Don't care. Anyway. I already find FIFA to be questionable. I wouldn't be the least bit surprised of baseball being rigged at every available opportunity, football being rigged at every available opportunity. I've heard of corruption in cricket being very high, incredibly high. So, fuck, whatever. There's one gentleman that I watch on occasion with his shorts, predicting that San Francisco is going to win it. Now, I don't know where they are in the playoffs, and I don't give a shit. But there seemed to be one commercial where the colors were the streamers, whatever the paper fireworks, shall we say, were red, white, and gold. And to my knowledge, the only team that has that color combination is the 49ers. So maybe, who knows? And if they are rigging it, they have to show you what they're doing. It's just a requirement of karmic law. So I got nothing more to say, so I'm done.
Yeah, okay, again, I keep hearing this about Taylor Swift. And I said, yeah, okay, I didn't care either. This thing has just kind of taken on a life of its own. And it, and it kept spiraling and building and building and building and building. And the next thing you know, it's like all of a sudden, a week before the Super Bowl, we suddenly got the Simps coming, not just the one guy I ran into, but a bunch of them. And like the level of simping for Taylor Swift is just like we're talking, yeah, like I said, it's so bad that it's like I literally cannot even respect these guys. It is so obvious what they're trying to do. And when somebody's being that stupid, or you see a group of people being that fucking stupid, right? It's usually an indicator that it might possibly be somebody behind the scenes calling it, which means it's either Taylor Swift or it's somebody at the league thinking that this is a good marketing ploy. One of the two. But with that, let's get on with the next topic here. What the hell? Where did the time? Oh, for fuck's sakes! Where the fuck did the timer go? Shit. Well, I'll figure it out here. Okay, so the next show, yeah, I got it. 47 minutes. There's a time from when the timer started though, and the timer's gone. So Danielle Smith is attempting. Actually, she's not attempting. She will more or less do the same thing that that Doug Moe did in Saskatchewan, and you're seeing the same pattern emerge in Alberta that they did in Saskatchewan, where you have various public sector unions, and you have the LGBTQ and whatever organizing, and they're not just fighting softly this time. Like, they're pushing back really hard. Like, they brought in Justin Trudeau, like right off the bat. They brought in the national media this time right off the bat. One of the things that the national media did, though, is they asked a question: do you support Danielle Smith's decision to do what she's doing in Alberta around pronouns and so forth? And 78% of, or 80%, more or less 80% of the country said, yes, we do. The amount of arguing I saw on Twitter that tried to say that 80%, hold on, wasn't 80%, in that somehow that 80% wasn't the majority, was just absolutely stupid. Then, of course, they tried to pull the
that argument again.
Yep, they tried to say that 80% wasn't 80%, and they tried bringing up all these stats. And what they did is, well, it's not 80% is supportive. It's like sort of in support and partially in support. It's like 78%. It's like, yeah, we can see the argument on Twitter was, yeah, we can see the numbers. It's 78% that are either totally in favor or partially in favor of what Danielle Smith is doing. In short, the majority. Saying that 78% is split up with people either strongly or only partially supporting it, that somehow the partially supporters are not in support, is a pretty stupid argument. The next argument they came up with is that they needed to protect trans children from their parents. The only issue is that there is a child services. It's corrupt as fuck. But if you had a parent that decided to abuse their child because their child decided that he was gay or trans, child services could step in and take care of the problem just fine. They don't need an additional layer of protection. The other one is, it's a bunch of far right, and yet they use the race card. Never mind the fact that there are trans that aren't white, but they tried to use the race card. It's a bunch of far white supremacists trying to enforce their views. It's like they're like pulling out. Well, and of course the mainstream media is running with it. They're trying to pull out all of these talking points. They're trying to hype it up in the media. The only problem is that once again, you're starting to find out how, the Canadian press at this point, like the establishment press, is absolutely, they just proved themselves. CBC in particular has just proved themselves right out of fucking existence. And the whole situation is such that, it's going to pass now, because of the fact that the mayor in Calgary is a woke bitch. Would you like that term for a reason, woke bitch?
I prefer the word cunt. That's
okay,
just me.
Woke cunt. The support against this bill in Calgary seems to be a little bit more organized than the stuff that was in Edmonton. Ironically enough, somebody that I've spoken to in the past actually covered the rally here in Edmonton. She was an actual she, by the way. I've met her. She is an actual she.
An actual biological female?
An actual bio. Yeah, she's like 20 or so, and she reported the story in Edmonton, and can't hit a girl or anything like that, but there's certainly a few people that got pretty hostile with Alexa. I will say that much for sure. We all know where this is going. We know that Danielle Smith is going to pass this bill. The thing is that one province is an outlier, but 2 provinces doing this is going to send a signal, in particular to any of the other conservative premiers that happen to be out there, that yes, they can do this too. So, I mean, Saskatchewan created a gap, and then Alberta's going through it, and then they know that which is why they're fighting in Alberta so much more fiercely than they were fighting in Saskatchewan about this, because they know if they lose in Alberta, like it's not potential. Not only is it potentially game over for this type of thing in Canada, but you're going to start to see this occur in some of the red states down in the U.S. as well, and some of the municipalities, even in the blue states. So, I mean, it's like the ball is starting to roll, and they know it, and they have to stop the ball now. If they don't stop the ball now, they're going to be in even bigger trouble. Except, of course, that, well, Danielle Smith is not going to stop the ball. She's going to railroad this thing through, because Justin Trudeau cannot mind his own fucking business. If Justin Trudeau attempts to stick his nose in and try to interfere, she will just simply do the same thing with this that she did with the energy policy and declare notwithstanding. And with that, I am going to turn it over to V.
Of course you would pass over to me now, as I'm eating my prison food.
That was totally intentional too, by the way.
So what you were saying? So what you were saying before about not sucking any cock, right? I'll take that back. You walked right into that one.
Gives it. Hey, I'm not P. Diddy, all right?
No, anyway.
Yeah, since there's no power here, I can't have a decent meal. So we got turkey sandwich and pretzels. Okay, anyways, yeah, Canada's powering through with the human rights and hey, it's wonderful. All these prejudices are gonna melt away. Then I can come out of my human meat suit and present myself as I am, as your alien overlord, and rule all you delighted humans. What you think about that? No more prejudices. And then, but guess what? I have 4 more transformations after that. Each one's more powerful than the last. Hello, is this thing on?
Oh, by the way, I also I have to throw in one other thing about the first story. O'Keefe actually had to go on the record to say, if I get killed, I get killed over this story. So apparently he's kicked a bit of a hornet's nest. Continue.
Anyways, all right. You guys aren't on my Dragon Ball Z humor here at all. So, let's move on here. So, yeah, I mean, you Canadians, I think you guys just want to be the first in something politically. I think you guys are just desperate to be the leader in something politically. If it means going super far left. And of course, it has to be Canadians pushing this thing. It has to be. Sorry to say it to you guys, but
no, you're not.
As Americans, we think you Canadians are wussies.
Yeah, the Freedom Convoy says you're wrong.
I don't care. The culture, just everything that we know. Oh, where are you going for your vacation to Canada? Oh, those people are really nice. We just think of just really nice people. On the other side of that coin, it means you're wussies. So that's just what every American thinks. Okay, that's just the profile. That's just what it is. I had nothing to do with it. So don't get mad at me. So I think, yeah, I mean, of course, this is what you guys are going to excel at, pushing as many extreme left-wing agendas as humanly possible. And this is just a major example of that. I think, I don't know, you need to go get your burly men who live up in the mountains, who chop down maple trees and make their own syrup. You get those guys out of rural areas and come and be your right-wing party.
Well, yeah, I'm going to just say this. Yeah, there's a bunch of people from the convoy protest that would like to have a word with you about that.
He's a lumberjack and he's okay. He works all night and sleeps all day.
There you go. Yeah, get your lumberjacks. But anyways, yeah, go ahead, Wilson.
No doubt about it. 8. I'm still kind of wishy-washy on Danielle Smith. She says enough, kind of like what I would say about Greg Abbott. He could have done things a long time ago, but he waited 3 years to finally say, you know what, we're going to defend ourselves. We're going to protect our border. So I think that Smith is on the side of good. I can't say that she's a complete puppet, but at the same time as well, though, I mean, she has, in one form or another, has told parents that, simply put, we're not going to step in and regulate after-school groups or groups that are going to be in the school. Parents have to stand up for themselves. So perhaps this pronouns bill. Oh, and V, if you're not familiar with what else that she had basically said, is that effective immediately, children under 16 years of age will not get gender reassignment surgery. They will deal with adults, and schools have to tell the parents if there is a change in the child's pronouns or name or identity, whatever the case may be. And this is, I think that this might be the most conservative move, not just in Canada or North America for that matter, but I think this might actually set a precedent for the rest of the world as well, to finally say, you know what, fucking, we've had enough. And again, 80% of the population across the country is behind this woman. And for what she's proposed, I am totally behind her. Do I trust her? Not really, but for now, it is what it is. So, for the time being, at least, anyway, we'll see what's going to happen now. And then Naroki, you were telling me that there seemed to be a protest in Calgary that was, quote, about 1,000 people.
That's what the media said. I don't know whether it's actually true or not.
Well, anything that the media is going to be reporting on, I'm going to be calling bullshit out on. Because they're not honest. I mean, they're just as bad as CNN. And for me to say that, I know that's really bad. But I have to wonder how many teachers, principals, school board members, police officers, city council, mayors, not just in Alberta, but across the country, much less, or governors for that matter, in North America, well, in the States at least anyway, how many of them are, and they know this, that they would be guilty of child trafficking or potentially prostitution, child prostitution, or getting jiggy with a minor. Now, the number of teachers that are coming up that are female that are being caught for fucking around with young male students, that right now is actually, I believe it's actually on the rise for disclosure. So now I heard that there seem to be 40 groups that are quote representing trans kids, and there only seems to be about 50 kids in Alberta that are moving in that direction somehow in one form or another. If that's the case, I can't remember where I saw that, and it could very well be wrong. And if someone proves me wrong, I'll be happy to retract it, or to at least admit that, yeah, I didn't know. But like, the numbers are difficult to verify one way or the other. I would love to say that it's going to be easy, but it's not really. So I don't know. I will, excuse me, for the time being at least anyway, that's all I'm going to say on the matter. This is a great step in the right direction. Will it continue? Hopefully. And on that note, I have nothing more to say.
Fine, you're done then. Danielle Smith. Yeah, she I mean, she has, I have to turn in terms of the economy. Danielle Smith had to do something around energy policy before she tackled this. That is pretty obvious. The whole situation was just comical. And again, right, you knew Alberta was going to do this, but the trend here is that if two provinces go ahead and do this, like, you're going to start seeing other provinces in some of the red states start doing the same exact thing. And that, again, right, they were talking about this early at the start of 2023, you were going to start seeing some serious pushback. And again, right, like on Twitter, back when you used to be, back before Elon Musk bought it, if you were critical of transgenders or the LGTBQ movement, what would literally happen is the algorithm would put all the screamers and yellers up at the top. Now that it's no longer doing that, they don't have the perceived ability to yell people down anymore. And and they're going, then now they're having to go back to the street level, and even when they're being artificially propped up, it's still not working out for them, right? Their numbers are being exposed, their people are being exposed, and it's like it's slowly getting worse. And I'm going to stick by my prediction that Pride Month in June this year is going to get very ugly. And with that, let's move on to the next topic. Thank you. Okay. Now, Tom MacDonald and Ben Shapiro did a video. Ben Shapiro is very polarizing. In fact, there was a guy in this group who was like, literally, Ben Shapiro is a Zionist, is a psychopathic Zionist. Prove me wrong. And my response, and I'm going to say this about this particular topic. The topic is the video. It is not Ben Shapiro. It is not the Jewish fucking question. It's not fucking Zionism. If all you're seeing is that Tom MacDonald did a video about Ben Shapiro, and you go off on some fucking rant about how the Jews fucking control everything and how they're on this crusade and that they're like literally behind everything that's gone wrong, including stuff, by the way, that actually that works against what they're trying to work for. You know, I'm not really interested in hearing. Sorry, I'm getting a little bit sick of this because I've seen a little bit too much tonight on the Ben Shapiro video, on this Tom MacDonald Ben Shapiro video. I am not fucking interested in hearing from you. That is not what this fucking story is about. And you can call me a fucking Jew. You can call me a commie. You can call me a Jew sympathizer. You can call me a fucking gay Jew boy. You can call me whatever the fuck you want to. Okay? Here's the truth. The video is not about Ben Shapiro. His politics, his fucking alleged Zionism, which I think he is probably a bit of a Zionist because he is, I mean, he's definitely going to be pro-Israel because he's Jewish. You know, not about whether he's a fucking psychopathic Zionist or anything like that. The video is about that Tom MacDonald used Ben Shapiro in his video to hype this up, and it is now number one on the charts, and the fucking leftists and the NPCs are literally losing their fucking shit. Now, if all you can fucking see is Ben Shapiro and Jew, I'm not fucking interested in hearing your opinion. Okay, yeah, he's Jewish. But I'm going to have to keep saying it because literally when it comes to people with the Jewish question, they are literally that stupid sometimes. But yeah, Tom MacDonald did a video with Ben Shapiro. I listened to it. Okay, it's not Tom MacDonald's best work, but I mean, Ben Shapiro was in it, and his rapping was actually less than, he was actually talking slower than he talks on his actual podcast, which, by the way, I don't listen to because I'm not a Ben Shapiro fucking fan. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to V, and I got to call Urson because he just dropped out.
Okay. Well, I haven't seen the video. If I had known ahead of time topics, I would have done a little more research today. It's hard. iPhone. It's not.
V, what happened to you?
Am I not here? Can you guys not hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Hold on a second. I gotta go mute myself. Continue talking, V.
Okay, so that's the other thing about having this iPhone. The way I put my my pinky on the phone, it just covers up this tiny little mic area, which I don't have the problem on Androids. So I literally have to change the way I hold the phone in order for you guys to hear me. Anyways, Tom MacDonald. Yeah, I don't know. He's cool. He has that sort of fight the power spirit where rap came from, sort of taking it back to the source. Seen a white guy do it, you know. It's kind of refreshing in a way, I guess. It's a good thing that there's some, you know, equality, but then at the same time, sort of bad, because that just means you white people are being put down too. You poor white people. But anyways, yeah, I like Tom MacDonald. Because, rap started off as, fight the power. The industry got involved. And well, I would say government got involved. And more of creating poverty around Black areas. Of course, when you create poverty, you have crime. So a lot of that murder, kill gangster stuff took over rap because we saw that as a way out of being poor. Get into the rap game. Talk about this, talk about that. And then the industry in itself took over and made it about money, cars, and hoes. So the rap game hasn't been the rap game. For me, rap died in 2010. This imposter today that we know as rap is garbage. So, again, I like Tom. I like Tom MacDonald because he's bringing that original spirit back. As for what he's doing on Dave Shapiro's show, I don't know. I can't watch it. But hey, there's some dialogue there. Maybe Ben Shapiro can have a little progress and get a black rapper on his show. Oh no, I'm too scared of Ice Cube. Ice Cube will crush me. He killed me and rape my wife. I'm sorry, that's the best Ben Shapiro I could do. Anyways, go ahead, Rusten.
I have no intention to sound like Ben Shapiro, except that I think I know where someone must have time traveled for Over the Hedge. That's all I'm going to say with with the Scrub. I was going to say Film of the Scrub, but that's the wrong character. Totally wrong platform. I only listened to, as I said to Naroki, I only listened to about half the song. And it isn't so much, no, I'll be honest, it isn't as much of Shapiro's political religious ideology. I guess that's but the nicest way to say it. I just don't like hearing the guy. I mean, he's I don't know if he talks at 1.25 to 1.5 times speed as you would see on YouTube. And you almost have to drop him down. If you're going to be watching any of his videos on CrackTube, you almost have to drop it down to 0.75, and he'll probably actually start to sound normal. Like, he's just so fast talking that it drives me nuts. And he sounds weaselly and nasal. He's a weaselly native. He's a nasally weasel.
I think the Jews call that being a nebbishy.
Well, whatever they may call it, I don't know, and I don't care. Fuck. Honestly, one way or the other, But then again, I mean, Shapiro was on Piers Morgan, and apparently, allegedly, Morgan had asked him if he's racist. No, it was MacDonald. It was Tom MacDonald. He asked Tom MacDonald if he was racist. So, fuck, I don't know, whatever. And this actually ties in indirectly because I think the song got to #1 around the world. On iTunes, at least, anyway. And maybe there's one other music platform, Spotify. I could be wrong. I can't remember. Anyway, the song made it to #1. And as much as this pisses off the music industrial complex, and with the likes of, what the fuck is that guy's name? Sam Smith. Him and individuals like them that would be very happy to sell what they have resembling a soul. And Naoki and I covered this privately when I looked into Penske Media Group. And this organization owns Billboard. And I don't think, at least not without a lot of difficulty, will you see MacDonald mentioned or being shown on the charts at all. And I have no doubt that they are very much in lockstep with whatever the industry standard is or standards are for being recognized with your music content, whatever that may entail. Now, my reaction when I saw the video, when I saw the frame on YouTube, I went, wow. Like, it was big when MacDonald got Blair White in a video. I thought that was just shock. It actually was shocking for him. Like, didn't expect that. And he's been with Calhoun is his name. I can't remember his first name. Anyway, he and that black rapper Jenkins is his last name. Jennings, who's in the adopted family of Waylon Jennings Sr., I believe, is the country star. So, and I refuse to use the word race because we're all one species. We can. I have an half Asian kid. I mean, V is apparently half black, half native. Naoki is predominantly white, but he still has a native look to him. So we can't have the argument of different races, because if we were different races, we wouldn't be able to have offspring. Europeans couldn't have kids with people from Africa or Asia and vice versa, or anywhere on this planet. So that's always going to be my take on that. I'm glad for MacDonald that he's pushing the boundaries and he's forcing in his own way, like he's contributing again to the culture war. And the fact that the left is losing their shit on this one is not surprising, but it's also very encouraging. So, will I listen to it? I will at some point. But again, I have the mental issue of Ben Shapiro. I used to like the guy. Now for me, he's a case of, whatever. So, don't have much more to say. So, Naoki, we're just going to move on when you're ready.
And I am. What's our time, though? Wow, we're actually going. We may have time for the farmers tonight. Thank you very much. Hold on a second here. Let me just put that time in. Okay, so a new study, and this one definitely made the rounds because, ironically enough, it came out of The Guardian of all places. Gen Z boys and men more likely than baby boomers to believe feminism is harmful, says poll. Well, when you consider that this is the Brits have been vehemently, like, I mean, and this is something that I've noticed in the manosphere. There's been a lot of Brits that have been vehemently attacking the manosphere over the past couple of years, and part of that is that there is a somewhat, and especially although it's been changing recently with now that Boris Johnson is not in office. But I mean, there's generally a much more freer exchange of information in Britain. They've had feminists in the past, and they actually did try to introduce legislation in Britain that made any criticism of feminism illegal, which of course didn't get anywhere close to being passed, but they attempted to do it. Feminism in Britain has been really taking a pounding. There was a woman, I actually did a video on her, Laura Bates, and Laura Bates is basically doing the same, is basically doing the same thing that Anita Sarkeesian is doing. She's going into public schools and whatever, and lecturing boys about how fucking bad they are. And what she's noticed is that it was working for a while, and then all of a sudden, like, these 14, 15, 16-year-old boys started getting up in her 13, 15-year-old boys started getting up and getting in her fucking face about it, and she didn't have an immediate answer. So she started going on this press junket, and of course she in no way ever addressed her critics. And this is something that I've seen a lot of British feminists do, and it's probably also happening here in North America as well. As the mainstream media begins to lose its ability to influence people, and since feminism has completely bought into, has based its support out of what happens out of the mainstream media, what you're seeing is that, these boys, and this is why feminists have been so desperate to try to get control of the internet away, because as long as the internet is up, they just keep losing, and they keep losing because it's like because they don't have any arguments. Except when you have somebody like, say, Destiny twist facts around and try to make 2 + 2 = 5. And what you're getting with this is you're seeing, online, and even in you're seeing two worlds here. You're seeing, especially again, when the media lying about COVID was a bit of a two-edged sword. Yeah, they controlled the narrative to a certain degree, but in order to keep that narrative in place, they had to destroy a lot of their credibility to do it. Who's making all that noise back there again? That's you, Rearson. Sorry. So the situation is such, and also teenage boys, the ones who are teenagers now, have not only seen other kids that they've grown up with, seen the dads getting absolutely shafted over, and then you have these feminists coming in. And I mean, basically after about between the ages of 8 and 10, most boys are able to make reasonable discernments about what is right and what is wrong. Their value system starts to be developed, and they start figuring out that they start noticing that they're being lied to. So they're seeing this happen, and you're seeing these feminists come into their school, and these feminists are just like outright, in some cases, like literally almost outright lying to them and not bothering. And they're seeing in the media that they're not addressing the questions. They're trying to demonize them for even asking the questions. They're seeing some of the boys around them get victimized by girls, and these girls are not facing any consequences for their actions, which is basically proving themselves out to be the right what you're seeing is, the 16 to 29-year-old figure. Oh, wow, look at this. Very favorable response to favorable or somewhat favorable is 76%. 76%. Men ages 16 overall. Men ages 16 to 29, it's somewhere around the 60% range. Here's the really ironic part. Something like 80% of women have a favorable opinion of Andrew Tate.
Because Tate basically is an asshole and it turns him on. Okay.
Yeah. And then the same thing here. 1 in 6 British men 16 to 29 feminism has done more harm than good. Yeah, it's like it's getting to the point now. Yeah, they're beginning to lose their grip, and
the dam is cracking.
The dam is cracking. Well, the dam has been cracking for a while, but what ended up happening is because the media has lied so much in the past few years that their legitimacy is gone, and because feminism basically put all of their eggs in the basket of the mainstream media, because the mainstream media has lost a lot of their legitimacy, feminism has also lost a lot of their legitimacy, and it's being shown in these polls. And again, whenever they talk about manosphere or whatever, they bring up Tate, and I gotta keep saying this: Tate is not the biggest name in the manosphere. The biggest name in the manosphere ever was a guy by the name of Kevin Samuels, who, by the way, was an African American. And by the way, Tate himself is half black.
Kevin Samuels, rest in peace.
Kevin Samuels, rest in peace. And the current biggest guys in the manosphere are Fresh and Fit, also African Americans, but they keep trying to play this off as white supremacists. Yeah, you can't make that up. So yeah, I can't say I'm overly surprised. There is still, I mean, basically it's like only while there's still, men are just in general still more favorable towards feminism than they are towards the manosphere, although that is probably going to shift significantly in the next few years, the next couple of years, as the manosphere really starts to get big. I gotta point this out, right? Because every time I start talking about the manosphere or the red pill, somebody brings up Tate, and Tate isn't even the biggest member of the manosphere. He's the most recognized name, but he's not the biggest name in the manosphere. And is this a surprise? No. The only thing I'm going to say about this is just wait another 2 or 3 years when things really start to get interesting. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to V.
Yeah. Well, definitely rest in peace, Samuel. And might I say, quickly, what is it about black men who are talking some sense just up and die at the height of their careers?
I don't know, man. I last time I saw it, Fresh and Fit is doing just fine. That's just me.
I mean, talking like common sense, real sense. I mean, example, like Prince, for example. Prince was doing great, doing excellent, still selling out shows. he does an interview, and someone asked him a question about something, and he was like, I don't know. But ever since they started spraying chemtrails, everybody's gone crazy. Boom, dead.
I gotta throw something in about Prince. I did a Prince show, and I knew the runner for that show. Like, she was a friend of mine. She was not impressed with Prince as a person.
He was a genius.
Oh, he's a musical genius, but I mean, it's
not just musically. The man was smart.
Yeah, he was also an egotist. Sorry, this is just the impression that I got from the people who worked around Prince when he came to Edmonton. The show that I worked in, they thought he was a self-important, egotistical prick.
Yes, of course. Yeah, I'm not going to deny that. But when you reach a certain level of intelligence, that starts to show. I mean, all right, I'm not going to talk about myself here, but anyways.
I can even feel the space in my room is getting a little bit cramped right now. And shit's coming out through the microphone and the speakers. Just saying. But please continue.
Well, I get told all the time.
No fucks given, folks. No standards, no fucks given.
I'm told when I enter in a public space or enter a room with people, yeah, I'm like a ninja. I'm quiet. Nobody notices me. But as soon as somebody engages me in intelligence, it's like I take up the entire room. Yeah. So I know it just happens. I don't know. When you reach a certain level of intelligence and awareness, you can sound like an egotistical know-it-all. I just try to help. I try to teach. That's my thing. I've bled. I've burned. I've earned the right to teach. My experience and research. But anyways, the feminism, Naroki said feminism's getting pounded. I was going to ask him in what position.
Doggy style.
Bitches be in heat. Just saying, because they don't want a male that's all in touch with his feelings. But I'll get to that.
Well, I don't know. I mean, these 13-year-old boys rejecting feminism. This is this time in their lives where the testosterone starts surging. And I think they're trying to experiment with that. See if they can psychologically suppress what's going on biologically. And I'm not surprised to hear that feminism is being rejected. I know when I was 13, I was pounding feminism in my own way. Kicking the crap out of other guys.
Oh yeah.
I started early. I started very early. And just kicking the crap out of other guys, just being the alpha at all times. For example, a couple nights ago, just chilling here with my friends. My friend Hellspeak, he's a rapper. He's going to come on the show eventually. He brings over, a couple of his friends. It's a guy, half black, half white, tall, and he has his girlfriend. Just tall, lanky, whatever. Yeah. So the guy went and sat over on the couch. He's just doing his thing away from me. I speak to him, and he's looking down. Anytime I talk to him, and his girl is all over me. All over me. I was not interested. Not my type. But she was doing everything in the world to engage me, up until the point that they left. Hellspeak came up to me, and he was like, dude, that girl wanted you. I was like, yeah, I know. Homeboy didn't say nothing. I was like, yeah, I know. I'm the alpha. I'm the alpha in the room. It's only natural. Even though he was like, oh, yeah, well, thanks a lot. but it was true. Guys are going to come into their own, come into themselves the way they're supposed to. The system is so desperate to produce beta males, it's unbelievable. And they're going to stoop. I mean, they're already attacking male masculinity with this whole trans agenda already. But for those who are not gonna physically castrate themselves, they're sending in the cavalry to psychologically castrate males. And yeah, Gen Z may not be the smartest generation. God help us all. But I think a few of them might still have some damn sense about what's wrong and right. And let's just hope, as a species, we can continue that going. And with that, pass it on to Marissa. Go ahead.
Well, considering that it just seems to be, again, a case of what do women want? They don't know what the fuck they want. I want a guy that's sensitive and in touch with his feelings. Well, here I am, and I'm talking about me personally. Well, you're a nice guy, but fuck you. And I'm like, fuck you, and fuck you too. You know, CeeLo Green. Like that almost could be my own personal song. It was just the way that I've seen it. And I've heard it so many times. You're a nice guy, but. And I'm at the point now you're going, you know what? I don't give a shit. Like, I just don't fucking care. Like, if I hear you're a nice guy, it's okay. Let me just finish that sentence for you. Fuck off. And
you want to know what I did with the last girl that said I was a nice guy? I literally just got up from the table and fucking laughed.
and that's what it'll be. And that's what it should be. Okay, you're going to friend zone me? Fine. Go fuck yourself. Go whatever it takes to push you over that edge, and you have that orgasm, you're just going to do this on your own. Do it. I ain't sticking around. And this is basically part of what feminism is about. I'm curious to know how many boys that have grown up with feminism, that have seen their fathers get destroyed in the divorce, in divorce courts, within the court system. I mean, rejecting feminism is on the rise. Yeah, of course it is, because enough males are seeing what's going on with their fathers or their friends or whatever. And it's coming down to the fact of it being that, you know what? Traditional society. No. And did we talk about that one feminist that met a guy and he basically said, here's my card, just buy whatever, I don't care, I'm going to go to the bathroom, I'll be back. And she's bisexual, so already her ability to commit is already questionable, to say the least. And what the fuck was his name? What is a woman? You know, part of Shapiro's posse.
Matt. Jesus, I literally saw him earlier today.
Yeah. That guy.
Matt Walsh.
Yeah, thank you. Matt Walsh was gushing over this female. I believe the courting was also gushing over her as well too. It's like, yeah, she's finally realizing. It's like, no, she's not. She found a guy that actually is going to be a man. He's going to be in charge. He's going to provide. He's going to spend money on her. And let's not kid ourselves, folks. The expectation is your money is my money. My money is my money. That's the female perspective with males.
Yep. You know what I wish I could do?
What's that?
Whenever a woman starts talking to me about feminism, I wish I could just grab some lotion, whip out my throbbing member, and start going at myself. Yeah, feminism. Yeah. Keep talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That sounds
Okay.
great.
Yeah. Yeah, baby. Sure. Whatever you say. Oh yeah. No Kim suit here, folks. No Kim suit. I mean, like this woman she fucking wet herself. Not peed herself, but she just probably got so fucking sloppy between the legs. It wasn't funny. And the mixed messages that we send, that are being sent to boys now, it's a minefield. Now, will they get through it? Yeah, they will eventually, or at least they should, or most will. My son, again, he likes girls, he's interested in them, but with what he's already gone through, which he was being intimidated because he was short. And he's starting to grow now. I mean, he's almost my height, and he'll be 15 later this year, in a couple of months. He's not going after them. And my advice to him at this point will be, fucking don't. Avoid it if you can. Focus on yourself. You do what you have to do. And this is even advice from my manager. Is the work that I need to do on myself. And yes, I'm married on paper, but I can't allow myself to get caught up or be easily get wrapped around a woman's fucking finger. And I wish that I knew then what I know now, whatever that song was by Rod Stewart. Like that really, if males could go back in time and to give the knowledge and the experience of what their older self is or what they went through, it would be fucking night to day to what would be happening right now. And this is for a lot of things. I'm at the point now when it comes to whatever females want. It's like, you know what? I really don't care. I remember walking by the one government building that is one and a half blocks away from where I live. And these two women they were trying to engage my attention. And I just kept walking. I just thought to myself, like, are you talking to me? And then I thought to myself, does it really matter? No, these women, those two females, no idea who they are. I didn't even stop or did a backward glance. No, just don't acknowledge them. Keep going. Eyes on the prize, and the prize was not them. But the thing too, though, is that feminism is lying to women. Again, the writer for Sex and the City, she's in her 50s, I guess now 60s. She lives by herself. She might have a cat. Does she drink? Does she hit the bottle of wine hard enough? I don't know. I don't really care. But she's now realizing that she was lied to, and she's trying to. It's older females like her that are trying to change the narrative. Will they be listened to? I don't know. Will they be ignored? Probably. And again, this is in one form or another, this is a direct attack on the nuclear family. And again, the more that I keep hearing this, the more that I realize this, is that the more, quote, successful, the more income a woman's bringing in, the more she expects the guy to provide for her, and he has to be better than her. So, given how that the women are being lied to, they don't realize it yet. This is just my opinion. And enough of the guys are looking at themselves kind of going, well, I have gone to school. I'm in it, I could very well be in a trade, or, I'm making really good money, but because I don't have the, quote, college or university education, which is what feminists are demanding of males, why the fuck should I bother anymore? So there are many, many layers to this. I'm not going to call it a problem, and I'm not going to call it an issue. There are many problems to what's going on right now, and there are easy enough solutions. But the problem is that women don't logically think. And I've heard it said that if a guy has 5 requirements and a woman that he's interested in gives him 3, like, you know what? That's more than half. Sure, I'll drop my standards and I'll be happy with this. For her, whoever she is, assuming she has a minimum of a 7-person body count, let's be honest, double digits. She will, in one form or another, will be no different than Jada Pinkett Smith to Tupac to Will Smith. Oh God, I gotta settle down, and I have to settle because I want kids and blah blah blah. And well, okay, yeah, I'll take him. Do I really want him? No, but you know what? I'm gonna have to, because I'm
telling you, man. I'm telling you. Get you a fat girl.
No thanks. And my son will also say no thanks.
Let me tell you, they don't waste a drop. Wink, wink.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, say no more, say no more. I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah, only because they're starving in more ways than one. So, more pushing for the cushion.
Get inside my belly.
Big bottoms. Big bottoms.
Girls.
Talk about mud flaps. My girls got them. Yep, I know. Oh, what the fuck was that band, that parody band called? Oh my God. Spinal Tap. That's what it was. Yeah, Spinal Tap. Anyway, feminism has gone a long way to try to ruin everything. But then again, folks, as per Gloria Steinem's admission, is that this has all been basically CIA based or supported, encouraged. So I'm just going to end on that note. Nothing more to say. Are we done?
Actually, let me add to that. It's a point where Steve, you just said something very pertinent. Of course they support this.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, at the end of the day, you're just always going to have alphas. You're going to have alpha males, no matter what. You know, what you do, that's the whole nature of an alpha. You're going to have, they rise to the top, the cream. Okay?
All right.
You're always going to have them.
Sure.
So, why they support this? Well, they're going to recruit the alphas. And the rest of society will be betas. That is what's going to create a more oppressive system.
Well, I'm more interested in becoming more of a Sigma.
I'm Sigma. I'm really a Sigma myself. Yeah. Than anything. Yeah, I understand that for sure.
So
most pickup artists are Sigmas.
Well, at this point now, I'm not interested in fucking picking up women. I have a lot of work that I need to do on myself. And by and large, I don't expect most females to be able to be on my wavelength or where I want to be, what I really want to do with myself, current spouse included.
Well, that's obvious because when you're working on yourself, you got that Johnson & Johnson lotion and your visual medium. Of course, only you know what you want.
You know what? I'll be honest with you. I gotta really be quiet how I'm going to say this. Not how I'm going to say it, it's just how loud I'm going to be saying this. The spouse on paper and the son are going to be going to Japan in July.
Oh.
I'd be gone for about 3 weeks. I don't know if I'm still going to be physically living where I am, or if it will be a case of I've got a connection that I think that I can reach out into the Manila community, shall we say, and I know that I could keep myself very busy for a couple of weeks. Very busy. So, will it happen? I'll keep you posted. I will absolutely keep you posted, but I'm going to give in to what I really want, which is to, well, anyway, we'll leave that alone. Anywho, shall we move on to Rookie?
Yeah, let's move on. What's the timestamp on this last topic?
About that.
Thank you very much.
I think I'll start to do that, actually. That makes a little bit more sense. Anyway, moving on.
Okay, well, as we're all aware, as the globalists, in particular the United States, as it's becoming more and more obvious that Biden is not going to win the election. By the way, Rusin, you need to mute yourself again. I'm hearing some heavy breathing on your side.
Sorry.
So yeah, we've been hearing more and more stories about, for instance, the British government tricking men into enlisting early and deliberately doing stuff to provoke the Russians into reacting, or provoking the Chinese into reacting, and this should come as absolutely no surprise, that this thing in Israel is looking like it's probably was a kind of like a lead up to it. The Iranians are sticking their nose into what's going on the Gaza Strip, and the Americans have found out about it, and they are now making moves towards Iran. So here's the issue. And this is something that I've discussed before on this show. Are we dealing with people so insanely evil that they will burn the house down to rule over the hashes rather than just simply walk away? And I mean, there's been some talk about this, and it's like, yeah, I don't think they're just going to quietly walk away. Like, they're just not going to do it. And, attempting to start a war is one of the oldest tricks in the book. And the question that needs to come up here is, how close are we to World War III? Because, I mean, again, the administration here in the U.S. in particular is under a lot of pressure, right? Like, the manosphere is exceedingly close to being politically viable. When the manosphere gets to the point where it's politically viable, I can tell you the overwhelming number of guys in the manosphere are not going to go fight a war for a country that has treated them like simply being male is a fucking toxic disease. I mean, we talked last show, we talked about how this case up in Canada around those 5 NHL players rather conveniently fit into a how would you say it, a narrative that the Canadian government had been pushing around toxic masculinity.
Sounds about right.
You know, again, attempting to start a war to divert from internal issues is one of the oldest tricks in the book. Would be very foolish of people in the United States and in the West to assume that the powers that be in the West wouldn't attempt to start a war or try to provoke a war in order to distract and to remain in power, which is exactly, by the way, what Netanyahu was accused of in Hamas. There were some very suspicious activities that the Israelis did right at the... Okay, all right. Sorry, Rusin, I had to mute you there because there's something going on in the background. You can unmute yourself, you can. So the whole situation is, how close are we to World War III? And the closer we get to the election, and the more obvious it becomes that. And I'm by no means totally on Team Trump's side. We're talking about a group of people that are so fucking desperate that they will actually start a war rather than surrender power, because that's literally all they have. They will quite happily sacrifice tens of thousands of men just so that they can stay in power. And the question is, how close are we to World War III? Because the more I've been going along, the more I'm seeing, you now have, both in Canada and the US, you now have states and provinces that are refusing to go along with the federal government. This was always the case, but now they're having to actually step out right into the open and defy the government. Texas tolerated what Biden was doing on its border for years. And of course, it's an election year. So of course they were going to step up and start pushing back on Biden in an election year. That's a very obvious political ploy. But again, right, it's put Biden in a no-win situation, which, by the way, they have done a lot of. And I was talking about this back in 2020. They will... and they are definitely they're definitely going to this is definitely not off the table. So the question comes up, how close are we to World War III? That's a very legitimate question. Again, you don't hear it on the mainstream media, but you're seeing it on the news. I'm seeing stories about this on alt media everywhere. And it's sort of at some point you have to go, well, maybe there's something there. And you have to start considering it. And you know how governments like the ones in the current Biden administration, what they're doing with Trudeau in Ottawa, they would quite happily sacrifice the lives of thousands of people just to stay in power. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to V.
Yeah. How close are we to World War III? Well, I'm going to say this. I have some items that I will be bringing to the attention of the United States Federal Courthouse concerning some national security issues. I'll leave it at that. And if they don't want to hear me, they don't want to pay me, that's fine. I'll be going international, talking to foreign national agencies, and Yeah. Let's just say the U.S. government won't be happy because they will have to scramble. And they're not going to be able to do it quick enough. So, World War III may be happening a lot sooner than later, especially if I have something to say about it. And that, go ahead, Verson.
World War III. No. World War III was the Cold War. World War IV, probably the Gulf War. World War V, I think, is maybe where we are right now. No, actually, except that HIV has a patent to it. Ebola has a patent to it. COVID has a patent number to it. I think we're in World War VI or VII. It was shortly after Bretton Woods, Jekyll Island, that the Federal Reserve was brought into existence, that America went to war. And then, I believe about the 1920s or the 30s, that's when holding on to gold in the U.S. was deemed illegal. I remember reading about inflation making wars relatively cheap because what you're spending now to what you have to pay back in 5 to 10 years, 20, whatever the case may be. Inflation will make it cheaper to do. So it's not to say that I agree with it because I don't, but that's just the war of economics. And considering the puppet masters are, in my opinion, absolutely notorious. And they have a long memory. A very long memory. I mean, this is well outside of our immediate collective understanding. And I only have my understanding of the 30-Year War, which started in Germany, and that was after the Khazarian Mafia was kicked out of Germany and other parts in Europe where they were the money lenders. And because there was no way for the money lenders to be fully paid up, and they would always be in debt, at some point they ended up getting kicked out. My opinion is that they ended up eventually relocating to Ukraine, and, well, it's unfortunate for the way that things have been in the past, but that's just the way that things have been on this plane of existence. So, that being said, I'm not I'm actually not worried. Like, I really am not. I remember freaking out a bit when Pennsylvania and Georgia and all the swing states miraculously became Democrat with the 2020 election. And let's not forget, folks, Trump has never conceded defeat. He has yet to actually do that. Do I think that there's going to be a world war? No. My expectation is that NATO is going to create a false flag for the justification to invade Russia, and considering all of the resources that have been sent to Ukraine, and Ukrainians have been, they've had their ass handed to them. Let's not mince words here. Let's be honest with ourselves. The Ukrainians were going to lose because there was just no fucking way that they'd be able to stand up to Russia. And again, I'm of Ukrainian descent. I am Canadian first and foremost. And again, I do share the Ukrainian Day of Independence, but I'm not Ukrainian. I have a former coworker who is from Western Ukraine, and she has nothing good to say about the whole situation in that country. And in fact, if anything, she's pro-Putin, which would probably piss off a lot of Ukrainians in Canada. But fuck, whatever. I don't give a shit about them, and I don't. This whole notion of people losing their shit over the possibility of World War III, there have been plenty of opportunities to be dropping a bomb outside of World War II or after World War II. No one's done it. And at this point, I don't think any of them are going to do it. I mean, okay, let's think about this. Like, driving the point home after what happened at Hiroshima and Nagasaki is enough to scare the world at the time for the next 10 to 15 years. There was the Cuban Missile Crisis. Not to say that it didn't happen, but there was the threat at that point in time, and nothing happened. Now, was there enough blustering between Kennedy and Baryshnikov? No, not him. I can't remember who the Soviet premier was at the time. But
Cuban Missile Crisis, that would be Baryshnikov.
Oh, I was right. Okay, thank you. Baryshnikov, for what's been released, Baryshnikov actually didn't disagree and agreed that it was best to kind of step down. But correspondence afterwards seems to indicate that there was a totally different individual or individuals. Somebody different, someone other than Baryshnikov, had replied back, and the tone of the letter, telegram, whatever it was it wasn't the same person. So he was probably replaced at that point, probably from the likes of the Freemasons in Russia that were vying for power, whatever the case may be. My honest opinion is that COVID was the latest biological weapon released against the masses with the governments that were in charge at the time, Canada included, to invoke the fear of God to make people to toe the line. Now, I have not been terribly vocal in public, and I'm quite happy in here to express my opinions. And for now, that's all that I'm going to do, and that's all that I want to do. I know that my father was upset that I didn't listen to him, and I was disappointed with my father being programmed to compromise his immune system. Again, I am of the opinion that my uncle that had passed away, and I saw his records of vaccination. To me, they are, my uncle and people like him, were the victims of the latest World War. So, we will see. I feel confident to say that I know that I'm on the right side of history. But I can't do anything because I don't have the resources. I don't have the media presence. I don't have the charisma to be part of the awakening for the sheeple, spouse included, to what's going on. So all that I can do is just sit back and fucking wait, and it pisses me off, but it is what it is. So I don't have anything more to say. Now, anybody else wanted to contribute?
No. Yeah, I mean, we've heard arguments that World War III has already started. Again, officially on the books, there is no World War III yet. I mean, historians a century from now might disagree. The official text, World War III hasn't happened yet. That's all I'm going to say about it. And let's move on with the last topic of the night, which is the European farmers protesting. Yeah, we decided to add this one in because well,
before you do that, as I've stated here, I'm under a blackout, and I've got about 10% battery left. I want to hold on to that in case of an emergency. So I will talk to you guys later. Thanks for having me on.
All right, thank you very much. I'll talk to you later. Again, this is going to be a fairly quick one here. So, okay, so it's mostly because, and I'm actually looking through for the photos for the slideshow. The only North American publications. Oh no, New York Times has covered it. CTV News has covered it. The Epoch Times has covered it, but most of them, overwhelmingly, there's been almost no major coverage from the mainstream media in North America. And I mean, this is
CTV.
CTV covered it, yeah.
Really? Okay. All right.
Yeah. So the whole thing is that and we knew this was going to happen the moment that the Nord Stream got blown up. There was going to be a gas crunch in Europe. Now, suddenly the whole thing with Nord Stream is beginning to make a lot more sense, because it's like the chances of every single country in Europe shuffling, specifically in Western Europe, shuffling all of the fuel costs off onto farmers all around the same time is highly unlikely. That suggests that there was some coordination. Now, maybe it would happen at the EU, but most of Western Europe, with a couple of exceptions right now, are taking their marching orders from the globalists. So, yeah, so you're seeing, well, I mean, my personal favorite was the French farmers driving their tractors up and dropping massive piles of shit at the government entrance.
I thought that was Dutch.
No, it happened in Britain. It happened there too, but recently it happened in France as well. Okay. So yeah, this is getting, it's starting to get pretty hot. And again, right, and I mean, I've been listening to enough podcasts over the past few years to realize that it is incredibly important that the globalists control our food, because they want us to eat the bugs and move away from the country and move into 15-minute cities where we'll live in tiny little cramped cubicles, own nothing, and be happy. And all of the supply chain problems and all of the attempts to undermine the power grid so that they only can serve the cities and that sort of thing, all of this is not a coincidence. Very obviously not a coincidence. And it's not going particularly well. Again, this particular year, there are no major, except for Spain, I think there are no major elections in Europe. The only major election that's happening in the West this year is the one in the United States. So it's going to get very heated especially next winter when they have to start to pass on the costs again. And what can I say? Good on the European farmers. And I'm also going to go, and by the way, if there was a rumor that Trudeau was going to try and do this out west a few months ago, around the time of the Dutch farmers. And I think it got explained to him. And this is the unique situation about Canada, is the fact that Alberta is the financial engine of the country. Like, it is paying for almost everything right now. And if he had he's already alienated the oil and gas sector. If he had alienated the farmers, like, Alberta would have just left. So Trudeau himself was going to attempt something like this, and he still keeps trying to interfere in Alberta politics. So, yeah, this is not something that's isolated to Europe. It just came to a head in Europe first. And Rusin, take this show out.
Well, in Canadian Parliament, there has been the name with the Maderos mushroom farm that produces mushrooms for the area of Ottawa. And Polyev intervened, which means that with Enbridge, to provide a natural gas line to the farm, and it's paid off quite well. But that farm right now apparently is paying $20,000 per month in carbon tax. Now, is this the same sort of levy that's being pressed on the farmers in Europe? May not be directly the same thing, but a government tax pulled out of their ass is a government tax pulled out of their ass. And who's expected to pay for this ultimately? It's the consumer, because they pass it on to the truckers, the shipping company, whatever. So they have to basically pay for that carbon tax plus their carbon tax for fuel, plus the carbon tax for keeping the lights on, however that's going to be done. And then that gets passed on to the likes of Sobeys, Loblaws chain of the Loblaws chain, and whatever else that's out there here in Canada, which means that the price of food is going to go up even more. Now, I am of the opinion that this is all a joke, because the next date for the carbon tax to be increased again, which comes out to apparently 61 cents per liter. And my apologies, folks, for making this a Canadian thing, but I'm gonna bring it back to something that's relatable to what I see, to what's going on over there. Oh, and by the way, in Germany, the government cannot run a deficit. They have to find ways to make up for the cost, so it's being passed on to the farmers. And that's basically the second place that it started. There was already before, and we had talked about this already, is that in Holland, the Netherlands, whatever you want to call them, the Dutch, they were, you might want to mute yourself, my friend. They were the first ones to take on the government, the WEF puppet, I can't remember what his name was, and they backed down. But much like an addict, as Naroki has said before, the likes of the WEF can't help themselves, but they're going after everybody else that they can, and they're pushing back. It started in Holland. Well, ultimately started in Canada. You're welcome to the rest of the world, but anyway. It started in Holland in Europe, then it went to Germany, kind of back to Holland, and now just spread back into Germany, France. Not yet for Spain, to my knowledge, although I think I've heard rumors of. Romania, Italy. Italy's been interesting. Up in Ireland, they're trying to start something. They're trying to start their own organization and protest in Britain. The Welsh, I think, will probably step up first. And wherever else. Ultimately, what these people know, and I'm not talking about the farmers, but ultimately what the people know that are trying to pull this shit on us. And it was said by Orwell in the novel 1984. There are a lot more of you. This was what was said to Winston when he just before he broke. There are a lot more of you, but you don't know who we are. We operate in the shadows, basically, and will keep you in line by fear. That line, that train of logic, doesn't work anymore, and they know it. So this whole thing of World War III is really no different than what's going on if you can look at the whole situation from 10 to 20,000 plus feet up above the ground. That is not to say that I think that this is all a joke. If we don't wake up to the power that we actually have as a community, whatever that definition of community is, within your neighborhood or within a voting ward, region, district, whatever, much less a city, within a province or a state, within the country. If you don't speak up for yourself, nobody will. And I think that there are two things that are going to wake people up to the corruption of the system. It's the exploitation, it's the ill treatment of children, or it's going to be your food, your dinner at the end of the day. People will put up with having to turn off the power or turn off the gas to keep the rent paid and to keep your belly full. But when you're starving, that statistically is the breaking point where riots happen. Europe isn't there yet. Canada's not there yet. The US isn't there yet. But when a certain level of lifestyle, luxury, whatever you want to call it, as Kelso has basically repeatedly said, when the bearable becomes unbearable, that's when shit starts to happen. And are we there yet? No, but I believe that we will be there very, very soon. I expect that the European countries are going to break. And within Canada, the problem right now is that Atlantic Canada has been given a break on the carbon tax, but everybody else, no, you're not going to get it. So I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if there was going to be some sort of an exception within Alberta specifically. Again, probably the notwithstanding clause. That, you know what? No, you're not. Could Danielle Smiths actually tell Trudeau to go pound salt and not impose this carbon tax on Alberta? It's possible. It's very possible. He's making an exception in Atlantic Canada. Why don't you do for the rest of the country? Well, it's because of reasons I'm going to pull out of my ass. Reasons X, Y, and Z. So we'll see. But I believe that I believe that the goat rodeo of federal politics, it has to stay in place to wake more and more people up. Now, don't get me wrong, for the most part, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, rural BC, or basically anywhere outside of the, probably going as far as Abbotsford in British Columbia, like basically the rest of the mainland, is probably quite vehemently against anything liberal from Ottawa. But in Ontario, I mean, fuck. Things are a mess, but there are too many brainwashed liberals, too many brainwashed leftists that don't see a problem because, well, these are the people that I voted for and I trust the government, and however that argument may go. I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible here for you, my friends, and just bear with me here. It's Rookie, you and I know what's going on. Can I explain that to someone who was happy to get jabbed, and that the C-1984 was just a great way to see how many people are going to conform because I want to be able to travel? I had that brief conversation with a teller when I was still with TD. I'm like, really? That's all it takes? You're gonna fall. You're gonna give in because you want to travel? You're a fucking idiot. Didn't say that to his face, but that was more or less the implication. So, for someone such as my father, who probably may not see what's going on or who doesn't care, whatever the case may be, he's the type of person that the powers that be are hoping never, ever wake up. Now, he is starting to. I don't know where he is, and I'm not going to go there, but you can kind of see where I'm headed with all of this. So, until food becomes too expensive, as Kelso has said, people will put up with it until. So I will leave it at that. Let's wrap this up and let's finish this up and you can retire for the night. I'll just add the timestamp as well while I'm here. Really wish that this laptop had a touch screen.
Okay, so while I was doing with this show, well, actually, we don't have to do the timestamp on it because we're at the end of the show anyway. But while I was doing this show, I posted up that, and by the way, the individual that actually posted this up, and I will hold on a second. I have to actually find it here because I mean, god damn, this guy was just such an absolute cuck. And okay, by the way, he's a East Coast liberal. Shocker of shocker.
We're talking about Taylor Swift.
All right. Yeah, this is the Taylor Swift folk that's been making the rounds on the internet, and somebody actually tried to argue and tell me that this wasn't simping, and when I said, yeah, it is simping, he actually pulled up the incel card. Yeah, well, you're probably 5'7", you can't even lift your own weight, so I basically said, oh, you want to fucking go there, huh? Okay, let's fucking go there. And by the way, if you try to use the trigger card on me, you'll just be admitting you're a stupid fucktard with no argument. So you want to take a run at me? Well, let's fucking go, asshole. So yeah. Anyway,
okay. So
this guy's probably got such an ego on him that he probably will. And like I said, I'm going to enjoy crushing you. I'm
going to crush your balls just like you want Taylor Swift to do to yours. Anyway.
Yep. All right. So this is the post. I will read this off. This is probably going to tick some people off. Yeah, no kidding. It's going to tick some people off, you massive cuck. And I hope it does. Yeah, okay, yeah. Well, congratulations, you succeeded. You proved yourself to be a massive cuck. But anyway, I'm going to keep going through it. But I'm going to keep on sharing it and saying it. And once again, I am not a Swiftie, you just acted like one.
Swifty. Okay.
But I am a human being, a dad, and a monstrous football fan. I'm extremely disappointed that so many of you think that not being a fan of someone means you're entitled to shit all over them. Actually, yeah, it does. I want to remind you of something. Your children are watching you complain about Taylor Swift sitting in a football game. I didn't give a shit, so you posted this up. Being happy and cheering for a man she loves in what appears to be a very strong, loving, respectful relationship. Yet Taylor Swift has been passed around more than a fucking donation plate at a fucking church. Wow.
Well, for her, my apologies for stepping in here, but for her to get her to her level of prominence, yeah, she's going to be passed around quite a lot within the deep state circles, shall we say.
Okay, so I'm not, anyway, I'm not done yet. Your children are watching you judge one literally for just existing and taking up space happily. No, they're not. Taylor Swift has routinely fucking come out as a woke fucking idiot. And you know what? Miss Swift has won 324 awards. How many do you have? I don't fucking care. She bought $5 billion in consumer spending and boosted the U.S. economy so significant that leaders from other countries actually begged for her to play there. Not fucking relevant to the football game. Did you know that there are over 20 college courses that offers her skills as an artist, lyricist, and musician, including places like Harvard, Stanford, and UC Berkeley? Well, it just goes to show you the fucking decline of the quality of post-secondary education. Did you know Taylor Swift quietly donates massive amounts of money to local food banks in every city she performs in? I didn't fucking hear anything about that when she came to Edmonton. By the way, her performance in Edmonton was actually pretty fucking bland. And did you know that Taylor Swift was sexually assaulted by a radio DJ and she got on fire when he sued her for over $3 million for defamation? She countersued for a simple $1 in a court case that took 2 years for her to win. And she did that just to show women that fighting for what's right has no price tag and to never be silent in the face of oppression. Just, let me know when you've had enough of the simp. Well, if you don't care by now, you should, because your daughters with injured refugees are watching you run your mouth, and they are seeing the world hate a woman who does so much good simply because she exists in there. It's some idiot, some alpha male idiot actually had the fucking balls and he was on a MGTOW site too, by the way, to tell me that there was no simping in this post. Do better, people. Teach your boys to respect women. Teach your girls that as a woman, you're allowed to take up space, fix it, become aware of yours, because we all have the ability to obtain and fight for the future of our children with simple moments when we need to consciously choose them to be better for them. End of post. Simp or no simp.
Wow. Really? That's what this guy has?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's. I'm asking your opinion. Does that sound like he's simping out to you? Sure as fuck sounds like he's simping out to me.
This guy's an alpha?
No. This is not. That was somebody. That was a response to something I posted up in another. This is the original post. I'm not going to mention the guy's name because I don't want to give him any fucking credit.
No, that's fine. Talk about rationalizations as to why that you are. This really feels like it's a case of Stockholm syndrome. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what this kind of feels like. I don't know what else to say except bullshit. And fuck, whatever. It's males like him that will perform this kind of mental gymnastics. And I'm just as guilty. I'm just going to say that right now. I'm just as guilty as well to rationalize. But is he hoping that Swift is going to take notice and give him not a pity fuck, not a pity hand job, but A set of pity tickets to come to her show when she's in the area? Maybe. I don't know. Do I believe that this guy knows what the fuck he's talking about? I would love for him to prove the whole thing of it being that she quietly donates to the local food banks wherever she tours. Because if he can at least present some form of evidence to that, I'll give his argument a little more credence. But until such evidence is produced, I'm not going to believe him at all for a bit. What you got?
Anyway, so yeah, the other guy. There's no simping in this post. It's sort of like, yeah, I actually respond. Okay. It's like,
when you start off by saying that, you're already giving definition as to what the problem is. Is this Vancouver?
Yeah, well, no, I just posted those up because I'm saving those. I'm going to use those on a future on a future video. I just couldn't save them right now because I would have to end this call.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so
whatever.
So yeah, he decided to get personal. You're just a 5'7" fucking guy virgin that can't get married. It's sort of like, you're on a fucking MGTOW. So you want to go there with me? Okay, let's fucking go, dude.
Yep.
So and then I DM'd him. I am about 99.9% certain what his response is going to be, and if that's the response he's going to be absolutely crushed. But that is it for the show tonight. Just remember, folks, simping is not fucking king. I have no sympathy or weakness for simps. If you're going to fucking simp out and defend, I mean, keep in mind, I really honestly didn't give a shit about Taylor Swift and the Kansas City Chiefs, but the fact that somebody would go to such great fucking lengths to start pointing the finger at guys and making them feel guilty. And by the way, a guy who quite clearly is a fucking left-wing Canadian liberal, it doesn't look good. And I will let you know how things went down the line. But what I'm seeing here as a trend is that, you're starting to see more of these male feminists come out of the woodwork and try to defend women. And every time they fucking do, they get destroyed, right? Or you see these fucking alphas come in and go, oh, fucking lift, bro. And I'm like, oh, okay, so let me see if I understand this right. If I'm facing a false accusation charge and going to the fucking gym, and, oh, yeah, I'll just fucking lift my way out of it. Like, oh, yeah, that's real fucking helpful. But anyway, that is it for tonight, folks.